wanting to call in next level goals for the end of this year or beyond, this live stream is for you. Good morning. Good morning for those of you who are hopping on. Okay, beautiful. So we are talking today about how to set and achieve next level goals. And I don't know about you, but for me, I was actually just messaging with my mastermind about this morning. This feels like such a time of year where I'm ready to call in like everything that I originally set as a goal for this year and more. And the energy right now feels so strong to me for that. Good morning for those of you who are hopping on live. If you have a question about a goal you want to accomplish, maybe something that you've been working on for a while and it hasn't come in yet, or maybe something that is feeling challenging or limiting beliefs around a goal, pop them here in the comments. I want to use the time I have live with you today to be able to answer questions for as many people as possible. So good morning. I wanted, I was thinking about this morning for what I wanted to talk about. And I've been on a number of podcast interviews recently where they were like, we want to talk about goal setting and we want to talk about your approach to goal setting. And one thing I will say, and I kind of laugh about this, but it's true. Like, never bring me in to teach your team SMART goals. Who in here was born and raised on SMART goals? I don't know about you, but for me, the realistic piece, like, I don't want anything to do with that. I do not believe in setting realistic goals. I do not believe in setting goals that you already know how to achieve. There's no growth in that. But with that being said, I do believe that there is an approach most people take to goal setting, which frankly I took for most of my life, that leaves them not hitting their goals or hitting the goals and then feeling like they're still not happy. They still haven't accomplished what they wanted to accomplish. And I did that for the vast majority of my career when I was first in corporate sales and then even as an entrepreneur, until I really came in and learned the material that we now teach in our programs. So I'll share how I see most people set goals, how I used to do it. And you can kind of check in and let me know if you can relate to this, if this has been your experience as well or not. So what I see is that most people will set goals coming from a place of inherent lack, coming from a place of inherent not enoughness, coming from a place of inherent unworthiness. And that can look kind of like, I want to make a certain amount of money in my business this month, or I want to maybe launch a new program and have my first client sign up because then I'll feel worthy. Then I'll feel successful. Then I'll feel like I have a good idea for my program or for my business if you're launching something new. Let me know if you can relate to this. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, pop me a comment. That's how I know you're here and I want to connect with you too. So what is the problem with that approach? There's a huge problem with that approach. And I used to do that too. I would always say, if I can just hit this revenue goal in my business or this income when I was in corporate sales, or if I can just be on the top of the leaderboard, then I'll feel worthy. Then I'll be successful. Then I'll be rich. I'll be abundant, whatever it is. The problem with that approach, it's multi-pronged, but a big piece of it is the energy in which you're setting the goal, right? The energy in which you're setting the goal. So the energy in which you do a thing is going to ultimately create the outcome of the thing. So if we say, I want to achieve a certain level in my business, but I'm doing it out of a place of lack, the ideas that I have are coming from a place of lack. The actions I take are going to be from a place of lack where you may kind of hold back, or on your sales calls, you're nervous, right? You're like, oh my gosh, if only this person would sign up, if only this person would register, then I would have some money. Then I would know that I was good enough. Then this, then that. And we're in this energy of lack all along the way. Well, you can't set goals or take action from a place of lack and have an ultimate end outcome that feels like abundance or feels like success. Let me know if that makes sense. By the way, I'm just seeing those of you who are live on Instagram. Good morning. I'm so happy to see you. Loyson, I'm just going to call it some of the people I know. Torald, I love it. Val, Allison, Camilla. Oh my gosh, so good to see all of you. Good morning. Good morning. And again, pop me a comment if you want some coaching on this, or if you have a question on this, or maybe you've been struggling with achieving a goal for a while. I want to work with you. Good morning, Torald. Oh, Jen, I was thinking about you this weekend. It's so good to see you. I love how that works. Good morning. So with that, again, I want to use this time to coach you and be able to work with you on whatever's showing up for you here. When we goal set in that energy, which is from lack, which is from not enoughness, which is from a place of I'm not good enough, it's never going to be enough. So one of two things will happen. Either you will achieve the goal, but when you get there, you still will not feel good enough. You still will not feel worthy. You still will not feel abundant because you're making it about something outside of you. And we never want to, I don't want to say it. We never want to say, we never want to put our self-worth, our validation, our abundance, our success on anything outside of us that's not within our 100% control. So it has to start from the inside out. So either you'll get there and then you'll still feel unworthy, you'll still feel lack, you'll still feel scarcity, and it's never going to be enough, or you're not going to get there and it's going to feel like a slog and a grind. And this is actually, again, why for a lot of people, it feels like it takes a long time to hit the goals because you're taking it from an approach. It's kind of like Joe Dispenza talks about a matter on matter, where it's like physical action and pushing and forcing. That approach takes a really long time versus energy on matter, which is I'm going to match the state of what I want, which is I'm abundant, I'm successful, I'm rich, I'm prosperous, I'm healthy, I'm happy, whatever the thing is that you want. And then when we take action from that place, the outcome is completely different. Let me just pause and read the question from Val. When you feel like you have two potential paths to reach a goal, how do you choose which one to take? Oh, I like that. So here's how I would say it. I mean, you might explore both. I don't know if the two are inherently conflicting with each other or the specifics behind it, but I will tune into, if I have two choices, I tune into what feels most expansive in my body. I will also go to, now that my goal is accomplished, how did I do it? And I'll practice decision making from the end and acting from the end. So a lot of times you can go to the end result in your mind and say, what would be the most likely path to get me there? I've got kind of two choices. What did I do? Now, oftentimes it will be the thing that stretches you the most and makes you the most uncomfortable because it's going to force you to get out of your comfort zone. But that's actually the whole point of the goal as well. But I also believe in kind of like pulling the thread. And so we get to be, you know this because you've been in the community for a while now. We get to be attached to what, but not how, in terms of setting and achieving goals. So you get to be attached to, this is my goal. This is happening, right? This or something better, I am calling in now. It is happening. It is done. The how, we have to remember, is none of your business. So when I'm in that energy, I'm even kind of feeling into it now, I actually usually don't feel a lot of like conflicting, like it could be this or that. It's like, this is what's happening. This is the goal. This is the target. Now I'm going to pay attention to the different inspired actions that show up for me to take. And it could be 5 or 10 different inspired actions that may seem like they have nothing to do with each other on the surface, but it's like, I'm going to pull that thread and I'm going to see, is this the thing that gets me there? Is that the thing that gets me there? I know I'm getting there either way, but I'm going to play with it. So does that make sense and kind of help? I hope that helps answer the question. But great question. Great question. So keep popping them in as well. Good morning, everyone. So good to see you. So here's what I have learned to do in terms of goal setting. And this approach works every single time. And it is so powerful. You know, I shared on my social, I think last week, that we recently doubled our revenue month over month. And I can say it comes down to this energy that I was holding while I was setting and achieving the goals. And I've done this and seen this again and again in my life and in my business. And so it boils down to, I'm going to share a concept we teach with selling, but then I'm going to translate it to goal setting. So hopefully this will make sense. So one of the one of the concepts that we teach in our programs, like 10K Club or 50K Club or corporate training, is a concept called selling from wholeness versus selling from lack. Now, what's the difference between those two? Most people sell from a place of lack, which is, again, what I was talking about before. So, selling from lack looks like I am not good enough unless I make this sale, right? I am not, hold on, my kid's school is just messaging me that they're okay. All right, good. First day of school. We had some tears this morning, but everything's good. So I am not good enough unless I make this sale. I am not worthy enough unless I'm top of the leaderboard if I'm in corporate sales, right? So that's what I would call selling from lack, which means there's a gap and some part of me is not enough unless a sale is made, unless money comes in, etc. What we teach, and this is part of our methodology, is a concept called selling from wholeness. And what that means is you have done the inner work to feel so good, so whole, so worthy, so abundant, so prosperous, so confident, so wealthy, regardless of whatever is happening outside of you. Because we have to remember everything happening outside of you is old news. It's just a reflection of how you were thinking, feeling, being in the past, right? So if we want more of that, we want to focus our attention on it. But if we don't want more of that, we need to go inside and start focusing on creating what we want instead. So selling from wholeness looks like, again, I know that what I have to offer is amazing and I believe in it and I believe in myself and I love myself and I love my programs if I'm an entrepreneur, or I love what I have to sell if I'm in sales working for a company. And if you want to come get on the bandwagon and come be a client and come be part of this and come be in our energy, awesome. But if you don't, that has nothing to do with me or my success or whether I'm going to achieve my goals or not. So what I want to do today is translate this concept to goal setting and talk about goal setting from wholeness. So this is the key. And this is actually how you manifest far greater results in your business, in your sales, and in your life is you say, what is it that I think achieving this goal is going to do for me? And ultimately, it's an emotional outcome that you're looking for, right? I think that having my first 100K month, I'm going to feel free. I'm going to feel abundant. I'm going to feel worthy. I'm going to feel validated. But again, if you try to do that from a place of not already feeling those things and already seeing yourself as those things, it will either take a long time, be a slog, and then you'll get there and you still won't feel any of those things, or it won't happen at all. So what you have to do is look at what's the end outcome of what it is that I think is going to happen for me achieving this goal. And then how can I be that now? How can I embody her now? How can I be him now? How can I already feel abundant, rich, successful, free with my current present circumstances? All right. This is the work. When we do that, we come to a place of wholeness and freedom and abundance within ourselves that no outer circumstances will shift or change. And then sometimes people may hear this and say, oh, is Elise saying not to set and achieve big goals? Is she saying not to go for it? Not at all. And this whole live stream and what I teach and what we do in our programs is all about you setting and achieving next level goals. But it's the energy behind it that's the key. So from that place, what you do then is from a place of self-love, from a place of already feeling good enough, from a place of already knowing my worth and my validation with it has nothing to do with anything outside of me. Now I want to expand. Now I want to experience the fullness of who I am. Those of you who know my story, and I wrote about it in the collective book we wrote as a community, Permission to Be Powerful. I share that my entire life changed when I turned 35. And the wish I made that year was different than the wishes I had made previous years, previous birthdays. And in previous years, I would say things like, oh, I want a hotter body. I want more money. I want a different home. I want this or that. But when I turned 35, I'd been reading a book by Bronnie Ware called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. And Bronnie was a hospice care worker, and she sat on people's deathbeds and talked about their top regret right before they passed. And she shared that the number one regret that people shared was, I wish I had the courage to live a life true to me rather than what everyone else expected of me. And when I read that, I looked around at my life, and while a lot of it was good and was really good, I realized how many things I was leaving on the table, how many places in my life I was hiding, how many places I was playing small, how many places I was wanting a more expansive experience, whether in my business, financially, and love and health. But I was saying, oh, it'll happen someday, or I was telling myself a story of unworthiness or not being good enough. And so the wish that I made that year was, I want to experience the fullness of who I am. I want to experience the fullness of who I am. And that wish ultimately manifested in 10xing my income in a short amount of time, and launching our company and having a lot of amazing experiences come in as a result of that. But it was from a place of internally focusing first on, who is that fullest expression of Elise? And asking myself that question for the first time in a long time. And so if you haven't stopped to ask yourself that question, if you've been busy chasing things outside of you, saying, this is, if I can hit this quota, my corporate sales, then I'll be successful. If I can hit this list on Forbes, then I'll be validated or worthy. I want you to, and those things very well may be part of that fullest expression of you. But if you're chasing them or pursuing them because you think they will make you good enough, because you think that you will look good to other people, that's not the fullest expression of you. And that's goal setting from lack. Does that make sense? Let me know. Give me a heart or a yes in the comments if that makes sense. Camilla, I have started to feel my 25K months. Beautiful. And it always starts with a feeling in your body, right? It always is a feeling state first. And that's actually how you know that it's done, is whatever the goal is, whatever the target is, you can feel it. And you can also think about it and have a knowingness of it's done. Even though it hasn't happened yet in your physical world, it's done. So Camilla, that's beautiful. And it is practicing reconditioning your body and your nervous system to whatever that increased amount is that you desire to come in. You're also saying, I can still grow on my fullest expression of me. Awesome. Well, I know I'm going to be seeing you in a couple weeks here. And we're going to work on that together, which is beautiful. And I think that evolves as well. I think as we go and as we grow, I'm living in many ways what I once thought would be way bigger than the fullest expression of me. But now I'm here and I'm like, man, I can see so much more. Right. And that's actually, I think that's so important, because we are all wired for expansion. So nothing that I'm saying today is about shrinking, is about lowering your goals, is about no longer goal setting. It's none of that. But what it is about expanding from a place of self-love, where I love myself so much now from this place. Let me see how expansive life can get. Let me see how full that expression of me can be. Does that make sense? Let me just pause and read comments. Cindy on YouTube, good morning. So good to see you, beautiful. And one final thing I'll say, and this is something I was teaching at our April live event, and I teach in my programs as well, is if you're curious about, if you're maybe listening to this and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I have no idea what I actually want. Like, so much of my energy or my life has been devoted to paying attention to what other people tell me I should be doing or I should be wanting, and setting goals or showing up based on that. An easy way to start tuning in, and let it be a process. So you may get a lot of clarity right away when you ask this question. You may need to ask it a couple of times and give yourself some space with it. Either way is great. But what I like to think about is, if no one was going to know, if no one was watching or looking, if I was on an island by myself, what would I actually care about? What type of life would I want for myself? And you kind of look at all areas of life from that. So what type of home would I want to live in? What type of car would I want to drive? What type of experiences would I want to have? What type of friendships and social circle would I want to experience? What type of trips would I want to go on? How would I want to spend my time and my days? That'll get you to your truth. That is what's going to get you to your truth. And that's what's going to start to tune you into that fullest expression of you. And then from that place, the practice is embodiment. So, how can I be her now? How can I be him now? What are the qualities or the attributes of that life that I just tuned into? Is it a feeling of freedom? Is it a feeling of unapologetic, no F's given, like I love myself kind of energy? Is it a feeling of contribution, right? And then you start to look at, where do I already have that in my life? Because what we focus on is going to expand. And then also, how can I cultivate more of that? But again, it's an inside out game. So we don't want to make it dependent on anything outside of you. You want to let it come from the inside out. And then what happens, and there's a beautiful Einstein quote, and he talks about, this is I'm just paraphrasing off the top of my head, everything is energy and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality that you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. This is not philosophy. This is science. So because you're matching the frequency of a reality, you're being the version of you with 25K months, with this happening in her business, with these types of clients, with these types of stages that you're getting called to speak on, right? Or this type of love relationship, right? This expands to all areas. Your outer is always just going to mirror your inner. So you're going to see it start to shift, rearrange, change to match that. But this is how I goal set. It's from a place of wholeness. It's from a place of self-love. It's from a place of inherent worthiness that has nothing to do with outer results. And what you'll find is, again, you'll actually get far greater results from this place, but you're not going to feel like you need them to be successful, worthy, valid, or whole. Does that make sense? Let me know. Questions on this, comments on this, pop them in. We've got just a couple minutes left here. While you're thinking about questions, 2 ways to go deeper, and y'all may hear, we got a new dog this weekend. He's going crazy right now by my door. He's this little, oh my gosh, he sounds like a pterodactyl right now. He's this little 7-pound, I think he's a Chihuahua Terrier mix. We don't really know. He's going nuts. So if you hear a lot of background noise, that's all that's happening. 2 ways to go deeper in this work. 1, we have a free summit, which I am so excited about, coming up September 16th through 20th, the Quantum Sales Growth Summit. It's a 5-day free summit. I'm going to take you through a method we teach called the 4 quadrants of quantum sales growth. We're going to go way deeper into what we talked about today. So goal setting, next level goal setting. So if you want to experience far greater than you're thinking is possible for you right now by the end of the year, that we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about money. We're going to talk about releasing, rewiring limiting beliefs. There's so much in there. We're also going to talk strategy, sales strategy. So elisearcher.com/sales summit 24. You can get registered for that. Again, that's completely free. And then we have our last live event of the year coming up in Portland, Maine, September 25th and 26th. This is all about how to quantum leap. We're going to teach you the dynamics of quantum leaping your results before the end of the year and then beyond. So we've got tickets on sale for that now, elisearcher.com/September live event 2024. I know it's a long URL. It'll be in the comments, and it's also in the link in my bio on Instagram to grab your ticket. Cindy, I know, I love it. And I'm actually going to connect with you about the event because I've got something cool I want to do with you there. So beautiful. Do we have questions? Are we good? Did this help? I hope that this gave you some good takeaways as we go into the week here, as we go into a new month. You can apply these principles anytime. But when you start to do this and you start to goal set and vision from a place of wholeness, from a place of worthiness, from a place of being abundance, nothing to do with your current sales results or what's in the bank account, you're going to get a different result, but it has to start inside out. So as always, I love you. I'm grateful for you. I'll see you next week, 9 a.m. Eastern. Again, if you're watching live. And send me a DM if you have questions, if you want to hop on a call with my team. We're here to help support you and help you bring your vision into reality. So lots of love, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.